Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation 24 channel, I hope. Everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Golden Bachelorette Joan Vassos, uncomfortable kissing men. Golden Bachelorette star Joan Vassos is dating for the first time since the loss of her husband. Is she uncomfortable kissing her suitors? Keep reading to find out why fans are cringing over Joan's makeup sessions and what she said herself about kissing on the show. Golden Bachelorette star lied to family about kissing on show. Joan Vassos didn't stay long on Jerry Turner's season of The Golden Bachelor. But she knew from her time on the show and watching his season that kissing was something that was common. She told Us Weekly recently that she wasn't honest with her family about how many men she kissed on national TV. Why fans think Joan Vassos is uncomfortable kissing men. Joan Vassos has kissed multiple men in the first few episodes of the show. But one Bachelor Nation fan took to Reddit to discuss how uncomfortable the Golden Bachelorette star looked during the intimate moments. They wrote, "I have noticed that Joan can look uncomfortable when a lot of the men go in for a kiss. I even noticed on her date with Pascal, when she was having a great time, she kind of turned her head to not go in for the kiss." The fan added, "It physically makes me uncomfortable that Joan discusses how hard it is to move on from her deceased husband, probably hasn't smooched many smooches since his death, and now has to smooch left and right as to not look rude." Other viewers agreed that Joan doesn't seem into kissing some of the men. She wanted the men to make the first move. In another interview with TV Insider before her season aired, Joan Vassos revealed that she left it up to the men to make the first move. She explained, "I was going to let the guy make it definitely, public displays of affection. I had to get over the fact that those were uncomfortable for me. But you have to find out if there's a spark." Joan Vassos, the dazzling Golden Bachelorette who captured hearts the moment she stepped out of the limousine, has become the center of a swirling conversation. One that isn't about her grace, her elegance, or even the twinkle of adventure in her eyes. Instead, whispers have circulated within the mansion's candlelit walls and among avid fans watching at home, wondering, is Joan Vassos uncomfortable kissing men? This curious topic, which seems both shocking and understandable at the same time, comes as a revelation after several weeks of watching Joan form meaningful connections with her suitors. The chemistry between her and some of the charming gentlemen competing for her affection has been undeniable. But for those paying attention, something has been missing, something that Bachelor Nation often expects: the passionate, sweeping kisses that usually signal the beginning of something deeper. For many, a kiss is a punctuation mark, a bold exclamation in the evolving story of love. But for Joan, it appears to be more of a question, one she isn't entirely ready to answer just yet. The night of hesitation. It all started during a particularly romantic evening under a canopy of stars. Joan, in a shimmering silver gown, sat beside David, a rugged and softly spoken retired fireman who had made his interest in Joan clear from day one. The moment was perfect. Too perfect. The fire crackled gently beside them, and David leaned in, his eyes searching for permission in Joan's. But just as the tension thickened and everyone watching held their breath, Joan subtly pulled away, offering him a tender smile instead. It wasn't a harsh rejection, nor did it feel like disinterest. It was as though Joan had reached the edge of a cliff but decided not to jump. The moment passed, leaving David visibly deflated but still hopeful. What's behind the hesitation? That night sparked speculation. Could Joan be hesitant because of the age gap between herself and some of the men? Was it the pressure of being in the spotlight, knowing millions were watching her every move? Or perhaps, as some have suggested, Joan's discomfort with physical affection could be tied to deeper personal experiences, ones we haven't yet been privy to. Joan, now in her mid-60s, has lived a full life filled with joys, heartaches, and profound experiences that have shaped her into the woman she is today. Unlike the younger bachelorettes who often enter the show fresh-faced and brimming with optimism, Joan's journey has been paved with both love and loss. The men courting her may not fully understand that her hesitance is not about them, but about the weight of her past. She's hinted at it during intimate conversations, speaking about her late husband with reverence. Losing a lifelong partner isn't something one simply moves on from. It's a deep, enduring scar that often takes years to heal. And sometimes, even decades later, certain aspects of love, like physical closeness, feel foreign or overwhelming. Could Joan's hesitation to kiss her suitors be tied to this lingering sense of loyalty? Is she still mourning the loss of her husband, grappling with what it means to open herself up to another man physically? The pressure of the Bachelorette role. It's important to remember that Joan didn't enter this journey lightly, becoming the Golden Bachelorette, especially at a time in life when many are settling into retirement, is an act of immense bravery. Joan has stepped into the role as the first ever woman in her age group to take on this mantle, representing a demographic often overlooked by modern dating shows. There is a societal expectation placed on her to not only be a symbol of second chances at love, but to also fulfill the traditional romantic beats fans of the franchise are accustomed to. Kissing, hugging, and moments of intense passion are the norm on The Bachelorette. But perhaps for Joan, the idea of kissing multiple men in such a short span of time feels disingenuous. Maybe it even conflicts with the way she views love. Joan might be wrestling with an internal debate. Should she force herself into this narrative because it's expected of her? Or should she listen to her own heart and take things slow, even if it means breaking from the mold? The suitors' reactions. The men vying for Joan's heart have also begun to take note of her reluctance. Some, like the ever-dashing Biddle, have remained patient, respecting her boundaries and understanding that their connection goes beyond physical gestures. Bill, who has had his own share of losses, seemed to take Joan's hesitation as a sign that they needed more time. He gently reassured her, saying, "Love doesn't need to be rushed. When you're ready, I'll be here." But others, like Tony, a former athlete with a bit more swagger, are growing restless. Tony has been vocal about his desire for physical affection, and after a recent group date, he confided in a fellow suitor, "I need to know where she stands. If Joan can't even kiss me, how are we supposed to move forward?" His words reflect a frustration that could soon bubble over as the competition intensifies. With hometown dates looming and emotions running high, the men will want reassurance. Reassurance that Joan is emotionally, and yes, physically ready to take that next step with one of them. Joan's own confession. As tension builds, it seems Joan herself is aware of the elephant in the room. In a candid conversation with host Jess Palmer, Joan opened up about her internal struggle. "It's not that I don't feel anything for them," she confessed, her voice soft but steady. "I do. But kissing. It's so intimate, so personal. I just want to be sure when I do, it's the right time and the right man." Her honesty was met with understanding from Jessie, but it also hinted at the larger question looming over her journey. When will she feel ready? And more importantly, will the men be willing to wait? What's next for Joan? Joan's journey on the Golden Bachelorette is far from over, but the question of her comfort with physical affection has undoubtedly added a new layer of complexity. It's possible that as her relationships deepen, she will begin to let down her guard. Or perhaps Joan's story will challenge the very formula of the show, proving that love isn't always about rushing into the physical, but rather building a foundation of trust first. In any case, Joan Vassos continues to be a fascinating enigma. Whether or not she becomes comfortable with kissing the men remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: her journey, slow and steady as it may be, is one that millions are watching with bated breath.